Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and today's video we're going to talk about how to write the subqueries in the DAX environment. So before we're going to uh, understand what is a subquery in the DAX, let me quickly recap how do we write the subqueries in the SQL. Let's take this is the one table in the SQL database engine. So where we have the lot of records. So let's say there are many records are available, but now my requirement is, yeah, you can see here there are 337k records are there. Out of that, my requirement is I want to fetch the records which are having the top sales net USD. Okay, so what I'm doing here, first I prepare the one query where it will fetch the max sales net USD from entire results and use that results value, and in the where class then I will fetch the records associated to the max sales net USD from the fact table. So to achieve that, so we write the query this way. So this is called, nested queries that we use to achieve our requirement, right? So this is the where we write the subqueries. Not only that, sometimes we write like to fulfill some other queries. What we do, so we write, you know, this way also from table as AV. So wherever you write this way, so the inner query, this is the query, right? So first it will fetch the necessary information that we required. On top of it, what are the results that we get it, right? From this result set, again, we're going to apply some customized logic in the outer query. So usually we can write the subqueries either this way or this way in SQL, right? Similarly, we can write the subqueries in the DAX also. Let me show you how you can write the subqueries. I have prepared some examples here for you to understand. Let's try to understand it. Okay. So if you look at the first query, what I did here, so what I'm doing here, this is the one query I prepared with select columns where I use the fact sales. From the fact sales, what are the columns that I required, I just pull those columns. Along with that, some of the columns from the related dimensions from the cube, I mean the tabular cube. So here the buyer customer name and buyer geo and the transaction date. So now this is the one query, right? So now if I take it out, this query, and try to achieve, I mean, try to execute separately, yes, I'll get the results only for those four columns, right? But my requirement is these four columns, I want to summarize it based on the customer name, right? So what I do here, then I wrote the summarize function. I mean, I use the summarize function on top of my select column statement. Then I fulfill the achieve the my requirement where I summarize the my fact sales at customer name level, right? Now, whatever you refer here inside the summarize, if you look at the syntax for the summarize function, right? So let me show you that. So the summarize function syntax, if you look at here, the syntax is first it's asking the table, group by column, then name, then expression. So the first syntax will be, first parameter will be the table. So instead of table, what we are doing here, so we prepared one of the select statement, select column statement by using the certain attributes and all. So first we filter out the data, whatever the columns that we required, then pass that query to the summarize function as a table. So now the DAX will understand whatever you pass it here, right? This part, it will consider that as a one of the table results, or instead of table, it will consider it as a table result, and it will use that entire result set to further summarize the data. That's how the query will work. So this is the one example where you can build the subquery. And similarly, we can try in different way. So this time what I did, I used the calculate table. So what I here use the, first I filter out the data from the fact sales where my seller geo code is Australia. Let me show you that. Evaluate, calculate table. If I execute this, so I'll get the records from the fact sales where the seller geo code is Australia. Now, on top of these results, I want to apply the, I mean, I want to summarize the data at buyer geo code level of my sales net USD. So that's the where again I wrote the summarize function on top of the calculate table. So now the calculate table, whatever we wrote here, right? This will be like a subquery, inner query, and whatever we wrote on outside with summarize, that will be the outer query. Now if I execute this statement, we'll get the summarized information for the entire fact sales where the buyer geocode and SalesNetUSD. Not only that, so you can write, again, further, like, so far we used only the two subqueries, right? So one is the inner query, which is the calculate table, the outer query is summarize, and similarly we wrote the select columns as a inner query and summarize as outer query. So that's a two query statement. Now here I wrote three subqueries, I can say. So what I did here, first I filter out the data where for the seller geocode is Australia. On top of it, so instead of fetching entire columns from the fact sales, then I use the select column statement. This is my second subquery, right? And I choose only the columns that I need and also bring the related columns from buyer customer and buyer geo. Again, on top of it, I wrote the summarize function. So then I summarize the data at country code and fetch the sales net USD. That's how I write. So this is the outer query, summarize whatever I wrote here. And the second subquery is the select columns, and third subquery is the calculate table. So this is how you can write the subqueries within the DAX world. You're just sometimes there might be the scenario, right? So where you need to achieve the complex calculation, right? So when you want to achieve the complex calculation, first it's like a divide and rule. So where you split the data in the chunks and then apply your complex logic on top of the your splitted data. Instead of that, if you directly apply your complex logic like rolling 12 months, or splitting the inventory based on your sales, so there are the complex logics that we have, right? So those scenarios, if you write the complex logic on top of your DAX query without using this, splitting the data or using the subqueries, the query execution will take more time. So that's the reason, before you apply the complex calculation, remove the data which you don't require by using the calculate table. So that's the way the calculate table will create a virtual table, right? So you can apply a lot of filters and uh, trim your data which is not required. On top of it, again, trim the data where you require necessary columns for your calculation. On top of it, then you take the summarize or summarize columns function, and you can write other related functions to achieve your complex solution. So this is how you can write the subqueries within the DAX environment. I will post the scripts into the description or comment section so that you can use it and test it from your end. That's all about this video. I'll see you in the next video with a different topic.